Our goal continues to be to send a clear message to Russia or others not to do this to us, because we can do stuff to you.
President Obama holds his last news conference of the year, focusing on claims of Russian interference in the election. Donald Trump's cabinet has a distinctly military flavor, and that's raising some questions.
Me han atacado con perros, nos han atacado a balazos, me ha agarrado la patrulla fronteriza, nos han castigado demasiado.
We talked to a man who inspired a movement to rescue migrants lost in the desert. KPBS Evening Edition starts right now. Good evening, and thanks for joining us. I'm Ebony Monet. The FBI is now backing the CIA's conclusion that Russian hackers interfered in the presidential election with the goal of supporting Donald Trump. The news came in a CIA memo sent out shortly before President Obama's last news conference of the year, where he told reporters the U.S. will respond.
Our goal continues to be to send a clear message to Russia or others not to do this to us, because we can do stuff to you. But it is also important for us to do that in a thoughtful, methodical way. Some of it we do publicly. Some of it we will do in a way that they know, but not everybody will.
Russian hacking was one of the subjects covered in an exit interview between President Obama and NPR host Steve Inskeep. They talked about what might happen with the investigation under President-elect Donald Trump.
If whatever response you take is not completed by January 20th, do you have any reason to have confidence that President Trump will continue it?
My view is that this is not a partisan issue. And part of what we should be doing is to try to take it out of election season and move it into governing season. The irony of all this, of course, is that for most of my presidency, there's been a pretty sizable wing of the Republican Party that has consistently criticized me for not being tough enough on Russia. Some of those folks during the campaign endorsed Donald Trump, despite the fact that a central tenet of his foreign policy was we shouldn't be so tough on Russia. And that kind of inconsistency, I think, makes it appear, at least, that their particular position on Russia on any given day depends on what's politically expedient. There was a poll that came out a couple of days ago that said that 37% of Republicans have a favorable view of Vladimir Putin. Now think about that. Over a third of Republican voters think Putin's a good guy. This is somebody, the former head of the KGB, who is responsible for crushing democracy in Russia, muzzling the press, throwing political dissidents in jail, countering American efforts to expand freedom at every turn, is currently making decisions that's leading to a slaughter in Syria. And a big chunk of the Republican Party, which prided itself during the Reagan era and for decades that followed as being the bulwark against Russian influence, now suddenly is embracing him. And my point here is that it's very important that we do not let the inter-family argument between Americans, the domestic political differences between Democrats and Republicans, obscure the need for us to stand together, figure out what it is that the Russians are interested in doing in terms of influencing our democratic process, and inoculating ourselves from it. And that requires us having a clear-eyed view about it. It requires us not to relitigate the election. It requires us not to point fingers. It requires us just to say, here's what happened. Let's be honest about it. And let's not use it as a political football, but let's figure out how we prevent this from happening in the future. Because it's not just going to be Russia.
It sounds like you hope any response would continue after January 20, but do you have any reason to know that it would?
Well, I can't look into my crystal ball, and that's probably a question better directed at the president-elect. I can say that I've had a conversation with the president-elect about our foreign policy generally and the importance of us making sure that in how we approach intelligence gathering and how we think about fighting terrorism and keeping the country secure, and how we think about our relationship to multilateral organizations, that we recognize America's exceptionalism, our indispensability in the world, in part draws from our values and our ideals, and the fact that even our adversaries generally respect our adherence to rule of law, our transparency, our openness. And if we start losing that, if other countries start seeing that, well, America doesn't care about these issues, or it's just a might makes right environment, and we're not speaking out on behalf of our values and demonstrating our values, then America is going to be significantly weakened.
You can hear more of that exit interview Monday on Morning Edition on KPBS Radio. It's finally official. Today, California's Secretary of State Alex Padilla certified November's presidential election results. This year, voters in the state cast a record-breaking 14 million ballots. That's 1 million more than 2008. Former Democratic candidate Hillary Clinton won California. Padilla says he attributes the state's high voter turnout to its progressive voting laws.
I like to think that we're leapfrogging a lot of other states in being a voter-friendly state and a better example to the rest of the nation than those that are seeking to roll back voting rights and voting opportunities.
Padilla says there has been no evidence of voter fraud or hacks in California's election. As President-elect Donald Trump continues to pick new members for his cabinet, Associated Press reporter Sagar Meghani finds experts are split on how his broad selection of military leaders could affect foreign policy decisions.
There is a distinct military flavor to the Trump cabinet. Recently retired tough-talking generals named to head the Pentagon and Homeland Security and serve as National Security Advisor. Great general. Other veterans tapped to lead the CIA and Interior Department. For an incoming commander-in-chief with no military experience, naming top officers to cabinet posts can boost his national security credentials. America great. But there are concerns military influence may start outweighing America's traditional civilian control. But presidential historian James Thurber looks back 55 years to John F. Kennedy.
Just take the Cuban Missile Crisis, and we had generals who wanted to bomb Cuba at that particular time.
Aggressive conduct, if allowed to go unchecked and unchallenged, ultimately leads to war.
And Kennedy took the advice of non-military people.
We will not prematurely or unnecessarily risk the course of worldwide nuclear war, in which even the fruits of victory would be ashes in our mouth.
We need balance, and if you have too many generals around the president giving advice, we may only see military solutions.
But former National Security Council official Mike Duran says it's an unfounded fear.
I don't think that's a worry to me, that somehow there's going to be a cabal of generals taking our foreign policy in a specific direction.
He does see the advisors pushing a more robust foreign policy, where America leads the way against traditional adversaries like Russia and Iran.
It just means charting a course in opposition to them and building an alliance in opposition to them.
And does not necessarily mean the former combat commanders will push for war.
The military, more than any other segment of our society, understands what the use of force entails, how dangerous it is, what the consequences are.
It's too early to know for sure because despite the nominees' backgrounds and statements, if nothing else, the Trump team is unpredictable. Sagar Meghani, Associated Press, The Pentagon.
More than 1,000 California doctors have signed a letter opposing President-elect Donald Trump's pick to run Medicare and Medicaid. They fear his policies will dismantle or weaken many services for vulnerable seniors and the poor. Cheryl Clark with KPBS media partner iNews Source explains.
Trump has named Tom Price, a conservative congressman and surgeon from Georgia, to lead the $1 trillion Health and Human Services Agency. And that's prompted a group of doctors to circulate an online protest. It's called The AMA Does Not Speak for Us, and it criticizes the American Medical Association for supporting Price. Nearly 6,000 doctors, including about 65 in San Diego, have signed. They're especially worried that policy changes will curtail many health care services for 13.6 million Medi-Cal beneficiaries. That's 1 in 3 Californians. But some AMA doctors defend the pick. They say Price is a physician, unlike most others who've held that post, and they say he'll listen to what they have to say. So he's acceptable, given the unconventional administration that Donald Trump is expected to have. I'm Cheryl Clark with KPBS partner iNews Source.
Covered California is extending the deadline to sign up for health coverage that begins January 1st. KPBS health reporter Kenny Goldberg says now consumers have until midnight Monday to enroll in a plan.
Covered California officials say they've seen heavy enrollment over the last few days. Sign-ups are running about 10% higher than at the same time last year. Exchange officials decided to extend the sign-up period to give people a bit more time and to coincide with the new federal deadline to enroll through healthcare.gov. Peter Lee is Covered California's executive director. He says President-elect Trump's pledge to repeal Obamacare has had little effect.
People are signing up, not saying they're signing up at the last minute because of a new president or in spite of, but rather they want coverage. And if it's affordable, they're going to get it.
Those who miss the deadline can still buy a Covered California plan, but their coverage won't kick in until February or March. From the North County Bureau, Kenny Goldberg, KPBS News.
Unemployment rates have dropped in both San Diego County and California. Both rates are down by 2% from October. The October U.S. unemployment rate was at a 9-year low of 4.6%. California officials say state employers added about 13,000 non-farm jobs last month. Today's downpour and low temperatures have prompted Father Joe's villages to make extra room for the homeless. Organizers say the downtown facility will offer a meal and overnight stay. The San Diego Housing Commission partially funded this initiative. 2 men who have worked as Navy contractors face potential prison time and fines for allegedly making bogus bomb threats resulting in mass evacuation of naval ships in San Diego Bay earlier this year. KPBS's Deb Welsh has the story.
26-year-old Joshua Rice and 22-year-old Roberto Rubio were arrested and arraigned in federal court Wednesday. The 2 San Diego men each face up to 5 years behind bars and a $250,000 fine if convicted of issuing hoax threats. Rice allegedly reported seeing the word bomb scrawled inside of a portable toilet at Naval Base San Diego on May 17th, but knew there was no threat. Rubio is charged separately with writing a similar message with a time and date inside the USS Cowpens on September 24th. Rubio's and Rice's next court appearances, motions, and trial-setting sessions are scheduled for January 9th and January 30th, respectively. Deb Welsh, KPBS News.
San Diego's Holiday Bowl could be threatened by a boycott. Players from the University of Minnesota are boycotting all football activities after 10 of their teammates were suspended following an investigation into alleged sexual assault. No charges were ever filed in the case. The boycotting players say they want their teammates reinstated. If the boycott continues, game organizers could invite another team for the game on December 27th. But officials with the NCAA say it would be difficult to line up another team so close to game day.
We look at what Myrtle Cole's leadership means for the city council. Find out why the city's affordable housing plan fast-tracked expensive single-family homes, and why a county board may declare that a toxic creek is not so toxic after all. Hint, it'll save millions in cleanup. Join us for the roundtable tonight at 8:30.
Yesterday, we took you on a search for the bodies of people who have died in the desert trying to enter the U.S. from Mexico. Volunteers are trying to give the families closure and rescue the migrants they can find alive. In part 4 of this series, KPBS Fronteras reporter Jean Guerrero looks at the man who inspired it all. We want to warn you, some viewers may find some of the images disturbing.
¿Sabes qué?
This is Rafael Larraenza. He's assembling an ultralight aircraft, which he intends to use to locate dead or dying migrants at the border.
But I need some bolts.
For years, he's run into an obstacle to his humanitarian ambitions. On border ranches and Indian reservations where migrants often perish of dehydration, Larraenza is regularly denied permission to enter. So he has a new strategy.
Que mejor es pedirles perdón a pedirles permiso. ¿Sí? Entonces me meto por detrás y por los lugares busco y todo, escondiéndome, corriendo, ¿sí? De que pues no me vean que ando yo buscando gente.
The aircraft is his latest solution, so he can cover more ground and avoid being spotted.
Me han atacado con perros, nos han atacado a balazos, me ha agarrado la patrulla fronteriza, nos han castigado demasiado.
Larraenza immigrated to the U.S. legally in 1986.
Es la cola aquella de allá.
He got a job making construction machinery in San Diego. A decade later, the U.S. started building long stretches of border fencing around cities, which rerouted migrant traffic into the desert. They began to die by the hundreds of dehydration and other problems. Larraenza decided to help.
Yo soy muy sentimental, ¿sí? Entonces, cuando yo me entrego, me entrego.
He bought hiking boots, walkie-talkies, and other survival gear.
Va aquí.
He trained and equipped dozens of volunteers.
Estos así son, mi grito.
It was the beginning of Los Ángeles del Desierto, or Angels of the Desert, a search and rescue group for migrants. He says he chose the name Angels because of something a dying old woman said after he carried her out of the desert.
Ay, son unos ángeles. Dice, en cuanto abrí mis ojos y los vi que eran unos ángeles.
Over the past 20 years, Larraenza has encountered formidable foes in his quest to rescue dying migrants. Minutemen, sheriff's departments, armed ranchers. But no one has frightened him like President-elect Donald Trump, who's vowed to expand current border fencing.
We're going to build a wall.
People are rushing to cross the border before Trump's term begins. Larraenza says he's receiving more emergency calls than ever. He fears Trump's administration will fight his unconventional work.
Lo único que yo tengo es lo que quiero dar, lo que quiero hacer, ayudar, prestar. Sí, tú ves, mira cómo vivo.
Larraenza lives in a trailer in Chula Vista with scarce belongings. His counters are cluttered with bottles of vitamins, which he uses for strength in the desert.
Los familiares la captaron mal.
A few years ago, his group inspired other volunteers to form Águilas del Desierto, or Eagles of the Desert. It's run by Eli Ortiz, a man whose dead brother Larraenza helped locate in the Arizona desert. The two groups splintered because of different philosophies. The Eagles conduct searches legally. They apply for permits, they notify Border Patrol. They don't trespass. Sometimes it takes weeks for the Eagles to start a search. For them, it's worth the trouble and the wait. They don't want to burn bridges. Larraenza says too much is at stake to be patient with bureaucracy.
Para nosotros lo importante no es el regaño, no es el miedo, sino es el que tratar de salvar una vida.
Most of Larraenza's volunteers have left him to work for the Eagles. Now, he conducts most of his searches by himself.
Tengo mucha gente aquí, pero aquí, ¿sí? Aquí si yo pido 50 se vienen. Aquí en estas montañas de la Rumorosa, vamos hasta 100 si tú quieres. ¿Sí? Pero para allá para Arizona y para allá no es fácil. Sí, así es que tengo que hacerlo yo solo.
La Renza says he feels betrayed. After all, he paved the way for all of the volunteers.
Mira los árboles todos secos del frío.
He shows me photos of his most recent search, in which he found a migrant who appeared to have died of hypothermia on a ranch in Texas. La Renza entered that ranch without permission.
Está todo morado, mira, todo morado. No tiene ojitos.
La Renza refers to the man as his brother. He sees all migrants as family.
Aquí van los pies y aquí van las manos.
Back outside, he gets into the seat of his aircraft and shows me how he maneuvers the plane with his body.
Para abajo, para arriba, izquierda, derecha.
He says he hopes the aircraft will help him save more migrants. He foresees rising perils in the journeys ahead. Jean Guerrero, KPBS News.
You can find all of Jean's series online at kpbs.org. Frontier's reporting is made possible in part by the Corporation for Public Broadcasting.
I'm Judy Woodruff. On the next News Hour, we break down the Electoral College, how it works and why it picks our president. That's Friday on the PBS News Hour.
President Obama signed a bill to give more than $500 million to fight California's drought. The bill would also authorize water projects across the country, like tackling the lead in Flint, Michigan water. Critics argue the bill is a giveaway to California farmers and businesses. Obama says the law will continue to uphold state water quality standards. A storm is making its way through San Diego. The rain caused flooding in several areas throughout the county, including Spring Valley, Mission Valley, Sorrento Valley, and Pacific Beach. Brittany Boyer says the downpour will continue tomorrow as well. She has tonight's forecast.
The last 24 hours have been pretty wet here in San Diego County. There is some good news, though, as we head into this weekend. The rain will be wrapping up. The winds, they've been whipping the last 24 hours. They will start to calm down, and then we will be turning cooler as we head into your Saturday. So the drought monitor showing you, well, we are still in an extreme to an exceptional drought for central and southern California. The rain, though, definitely making a dent in things, but not quite changing the drought situation for us. And just for note, the amount of rain we've had in the last 24 hours is more rain than we've had since October 1st. And as we get into your nighttime hours, those showers will start to dissipate. So looking drier as we head into this evening. Your Saturday, not looking too bad. We'll have clouds and sunshine around, and even as we get into Sunday, remaining nice and dry. We're also going to see the winds getting a little bit better. There have been some gusts over the mountains up to 70 miles per hour. Watch as we head into the rest of tonight and also into your weekend. We'll see the wind, the sea breeze shifting to a wind out of the north, so we will be seeing some much cooler air ushering into the region. Overnight tonight, nothing we can't handle. Temperatures pretty typical for this time of the year, 48 degrees here in San Diego. We get into Mount Laguna, temperatures a little bit cooler there. Chula Vista, we're looking at temperatures in the upper 40s, and Oceanside temperatures in the upper 30s tonight. Along the coast, we still have that wind advisory in place, though, as we get into Saturday morning. And also Saturday, that colder air from the north will be extending down into our region, so it's looking dry, but we're also looking at temperatures that will be trending below normal. So take a look. Some areas will struggle to hit 60 degrees tomorrow along the coast. San Diego, we're looking at temperatures right around 58 degrees. And then as we head into early Sunday morning, temperatures will be in the 30s and also into the 40s, but there is improvement as we get into Sunday afternoon. So the extended forecast, cool start to the weekend. Lots of sunshine, though, as we head into early next week, and staying nice and dry along the coast. Inland, temperatures looking a little bit warmer. We'll actually have above normal temperatures as we get into your Monday, Tuesday, and into your Wednesday. If you're looking for some cooler air, head out to the mountains this weekend. We'll have temperatures in the 30s into the low 40s on Sunday, and then staying nice and sunny as we get into early next week. The desert also looking at some warmer conditions as well. So for your weekend, it's sunny but cool on Saturday, and temperatures getting a little bit warmer as we head into early next week. For KPBS News, I'm Brittany Boyer.
This holiday season is a bit brighter for some kids in San Diego's Barrio Logan neighborhood. Today, volunteers dropped off hundreds of toys at Barrio Station. The community center offers a safe haven for kids. And for decades, operators have also held a toy drive. The San Diego Ship and Repair Association is a longtime donor. Leaders there say they feel good giving to children in need.
And so we hope that, in some small way that we can make it a little bit brighter for the children that may, once again, not have the opportunity to open up a gift on Christmas morning.
The Barrio Station Gift Exchange is taking place next Tuesday. The Port of San Diego Ship Association has donated toys for more than 20 years. They're back at it again. There's entertainment for holiday travelers at the San Diego International Airport. This is thanks to the Fern Street Circus. It's a way to ease the stress of travel as people wait in sometimes long lines. They'll see upbeat choreography sure to put a smile on people's faces. The Fern Street Circus performers do monthly shows at the airport. It's part of the Art Community Partnership. You can find tonight's stories on our website, kpbs.org/evening edition. Thanks for joining us. Have a great weekend.